Okay, everybody, welcome to another day of math. Today we're going to be talking about box plots, dot plots, and histograms. So these are just visual representations of data. So think of it like if let's look at it as a teacher's perspective. What if I'm looking at like my test scores, right? If I take all the test scores all together and I just want to look at a visual representation of the test scores, how awesome you guys are doing on your tests. I would use one of these things to represent it visually so I can get a good idea of like, hey, you're all grouped at like 100%. So that means you guys are doing great. So the first thing we're going to talk about is box plot because of these three types, it's probably the most complicated, but it's also not that hard, especially with what I'm going to show you how to do it. So to figure out a box plot or a box whisker, however you call it, you need five different stats basically from your data set. And I'm just going to kind of write them off. Let's do it at the top here. They're all listed right here, but I'll just write them in the order that they would appear basically in your data set. So the first thing you need is a min and a max. Okay. Min is the smallest number. Max is the highest number in your data set. So if somebody got a 0, that would be the min. Somebody got 100, that would be the max, right? And then everybody in between. Then we have the three inside stats. So the middle number of a data set is what we call the median, right? It's the median. It's the exact middle. If I organize all these numbers from least to greatest, the middle number, and I'm not actually sure what it is, but somewhere around there, I didn't count. So that would be the median, right? The exact middle of your data set. Okay. It is also sometimes called quartile 2. Okay. So the halfway point. Quartile, would you just think in quarters, right? If you have 2 quarters, you have 50 cents. You are halfway there, right? That's all a quartile is, basically. It's the halfway point. Then the other two pieces of information would be quartile 1. That'd be if you had 1 quarter, right? Which is 25 or a quarter of the way there. It is exactly halfway between the min and the median. So halfway between those two different numbers. Okay, and then you have quartile 3. Okay, and if you had 3 quarters, it'd be 75%, right? It is halfway between quartile 2 and the max. Okay, so you could count, you could figure out the median and then go halfway between the median and the max and figure that out, blah, 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 blah. But there is something that makes it all a lot easier. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do before I do anything like that is I'm going to go to Desmos, the graphing calculator. You guys' favorite, right? We're going to go to Desmos. And this is Desmos, right? Desmos.com/calculator. So in order to use a data set, I have to first make a list. Okay. So I'm going to use L for my list. And you just say what your list is equal to, and you just put it in square brackets. So I'm going to list all those numbers on example 1 on page 151 here. So I'm just going to list all of those with commas. So 42, 43, 43. There's 60 numbers, so it's going to take a while, guys. Sorry. Maybe I should have this written in first. 45, 45, 47, 48, 49, 49, 49, 50, 53, 54, 54, 55, 56. And then close it off square brackets. I've got a list. Okay. Now that I have that list, it's all right there, right? I've got 16 elements. I've got 60 numbers, so I got them all there. Next thing, if I want those 5 different stats that I just mentioned, the min, the quartile 1, the median, the quartile 3, and the max, I just write stats, and then in parentheses, put my list, L. And look at that. They all pop up right there. So if I wanted to know those answers, which I do for this assignment, right? I would go here to where I'm writing my answers, and I don't remember them off the top of my head. So 42, 45, 49. Ah, you guys don't want land school. You want this. 42, 45, 49. Wait, I already messed up. I should probably write these down. Okay. 42, 45, 49. Oh, I didn't mess up. 42, 45, 49, 53.5, and 56. Okay. So back to where I'm writing. This is where I messed up. So the min is down here for some reason, is 42. Quartile 1 was 45. And quartile 2, or the median, whatever you want to call it, is 49. And then quartile 3 is 53.5. And the max was 56. Okay? Now, I'm going to show you two ways to do a box and whisker. It's not hard to make a box and whisker once you have those, because you're basically just drawing lines at each of these numbers. So at 42, I can draw a line, because that's the min. At the max, so 56, I draw a line. At 45, I draw a line. At 49, I draw a line. At 53 and a half, I draw a line. Okay? And all I do to make this a box and whisker is I connect quartile 1 to quartile 3. So I connect those three lines into a box. Ah, my hand slipped. Sorry, guys. Connect those three lines into a box. Then I just connect those to my whiskers, and there's my box and whisker. Okay? Not that tough, right? So you can use those numbers. You're going to have to anyway to draw it, right? But there's also something else that Desmos does that makes this nice. So I got my stats here through Desmos. Let's see if I can get my box and whisker. So box plot. I do box plot, I do L. Hey, look what just showed up. There's the box plot right there. Okay, so again, I see the lines right there at 42, 45, at 49, at 53 and a half, and at 56. They're all right there, right? They've got the box drawn in, they've got the whiskers. There's my box and whisker. Okay, so Desmos will do it for you. And guess what you're going to have on your end of year test? Desmos, this calculator right here. So if you know how to look that up, and if you don't know or remember these, if you click this button down here, the functions, stats, it comes up with all the different things that you need to, all the different commands you can type in, like mean or min, max. You can do it that way, or quartile, or just the stats, and it gives you all of them. It doesn't give you box plot here, so I wonder if that's miscellaneous, or is this just something you have to know? Oh, there it is, visualization. Dot plot, histogram, so it does all the things today. I didn't actually even look for the other things because they're so easy. But that's good to know. Let's actually try a dot plot. So let's say I want to see this data as a dot plot. So I'm gonna get rid of this. Well, yeah. No, let's go look at the page. Sorry. We'll come back to that. Let's go actually look at a dot plot problem. So here is a dot plot. Dot plot is probably the easiest visual representation. It's usually one of the most useful. You see lots of dot plots because they're pretty handy most of the time. So here we have an example of some data, and it wants me to do it as a dot plot. It's actually the same data set, so that makes it easy to do as on Desmos. So to do a dot plot, you just put a dot for each piece of data. So there's 142. There are two 43s. There are two 45s. there is 147. So look at, I'm just putting a dot for each number there is in the data set, right? There's 148. There are 3 49s. There's, no, that's not 49. That's 50. 3 49s. There's 150. There's 153. 2 54s. 155. And 156. And there's my dot plot, right? That's all you had to do, put a dot on there. But let's say you weren't sure how to do that. I don't know how you weren't sure, but let's say you didn't know. You already had the data entered for something else. You could use, let's get rid of this box plot, and let's do a dot plot for L. And hey, look, there's that same dot plot. Just Desmos did it for me. Pretty nice and easy, right? Okay. And let's go back and let's look at the last type. So histograms. Histograms are also pretty easy. So with histograms, this is basically just a bar graph, but this bottom section is ranges of numbers, okay? And there's no spaces in between the bars. So this is going in intervals of 2. So 40 to 41 is the first interval, then 42 to 43 is the next one, and so forth. Okay, so we don't have any data in the 40 to 41, but we have 42, 43, 43, so we have 3 numbers in 42 to 43. So I would fill in this bar graph up to 3 because there's 3 numbers in that range. Okay, 44 to 45, there's 2 numbers. So I'd fill in that bar graph up to 2 because there's 2 numbers in that range. 46 to 47, there's 1 number. There's 147 up there. 48 to 49, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it would go up to 4 spots here. Okay, and then 50 to 51, there's 1, 50 up there. And then 52 to 53, there's 1, 53. And then 54 to 55, there's 3. So I'll go up 3 spots. And then there's 156 in that last range. And that's your histogram, right? Not too tough. And again, the same data set. So it'll be good to, I already have it already plugged into Desmos. So let's see if my Desmos graph matches what I just did. So let's get rid of the dot plot. And this time, let's do a histogram. And I will use my L list here. And hey, look at that. It actually has the blanks in there, so it didn't include the range. But it's still the same thing. It went up. It's just showing. It's basically just a bar graph. So I wonder if I can adjust. So the issue here is my one had the range of 2. This one is just a range of 1. I don't know if I can change count. I guess the histogram isn't super useful on Desmos. So sorry guys. Disregard the histogram on the Desmos. We want it to be more like what I drew here. So again, you just look at all the numbers in the data range down here, and then you just, however many numbers in that range, you go up that many spots. And that's as hard as it gets. Okay, if you have any questions or concerns, let us know. We're here to help. We want to help. You just got to let your teachers know here. And I'll see you guys out there.